Hello everyone. So in this video we'll introduce or we see that some commands that we can use when using the command line interface or the terminal. So by now you should have your virtual machine installed or ready, at least ready to use Linux. If you have Ubuntu, for example, so you are ready. If you are installed your virtual machine on your native operating system, for example, Windows, so you are also ready to start developing some commands using the terminals. So let's see what the terminal contains. So when your terminal starts, you should see something like this. So username at machine name. In my case, I'm Amal. This is my username, and my machine name is also Amal with virtual machine. So this is called a shell prompt and appears whenever the shell is ready to accept the input from the user, which is you. And we sometimes see it's shortened to be just $. So let's see what a username means. The username always refers to the username accessing the shell, and the machine name refers to your machine name. Sometimes we can find multiple users using the same machine. Means you will see, for example, Amal at Amal-virtual machine, and for example, Alex at Amal-virtual machine, Bob at Amal-virtual machine. Means these three users are using the same machine, which is Amal-virtual machine. So sometimes, or the 10, which is in blue, it refers to the user home directory, and the $, refers to the level of the privileges. May also sometimes see dash, or $, refers to super user privileges, which we will learn about this very soon. Okay, so each open terminal window has a different shell session. It is not related, like we mentioned, similar to having two Word documents open. So you can have as many terminals as you want, and they are all independent. It's like opening different words, different PowerPoints, whatever. So multiple profiles let you set specific text, color, privilege level, etc. You can customize your terminal slides later on this file. We see how to do it, and the default profile is innate. Note that when you are using the terminal, you cannot just type Ctrl-C or Ctrl-V, like we did, for example, when we are typing in Word. When you are using the terminal, you need to put Shift, Ctrl-C, or if you want to copy, and Shift, Ctrl-V if you want to paste. So if I type in a command that makes no sense, for example, alphabet, so here, let's start. So we know that Amal is the username, at Amal virtual machine is the machine name, and we explained what $, means. Now, after the $, we should put our comment. If we, for example, type alphabet, we see it that is comment not found because there is no comment, predefined comment like this, so it will prompt comment not found. So here the comment makes no sense, just alphabet, so the shell tells that it doesn't recognize it and gives us another chance to enter a second comment. This is common error when you have a typo in invalid comment. Let's try a valid comment. For example, date. The date here will display the current date and time, or in this case, the current date and time for when I put together these slides. Let's try on our machine. So this is my you should all by now have this. Now I have my virtual machine already prepared. Then I need to log in into my virtual machine. So here you need to make sure you remember your password because you will need it to enter it to access to your virtual machine. Okay, so it is just so first of all we will try to put some invalid comment like we did as alphabet, or we can type any other word, then we will try some valid comment. So this is my virtual machine. If I type on my name, it will ask me to put my password, then he's ready, he's logged in. Now we will do what we explained last time. So we will search for the terminal. We are going to add it to the favorite because it will make life easier. So whenever we need to type some commands, we just refer to this button on this bar. So we are going to put on the 9 points, dots here, and you open the terminal, or you can just right click preferences and it will be added here. Here we can customize our terminal. We can have it dark, light, or default. We can open new terminals in Windows or tab. The new tab position, it will be the last or the next with the shortcuts, whatever. So enable menu, etc. Enable the menu accelerator. So we can have several things here. Okay, so oops, so terminal preferences, we'll just say okay. Here we have, if you want to change the text, the color. So let me change the make it bigger. Okay, so you can check the other things and try it if you want. Oh. Okay, so let's start. I want to add it preferences and it is added here. Okay, so let's start by putting alphabet C. So as we said, comment not found. Let's try a valid comment, which is date, which will print the current date. Now, if you wanna just say data, which is another invalid date, but it is just because a typo. So comment data not found. And sometimes it asks, do you mean date, DAT, or date, or whatever. So he's always trying to help you. Now, so what will be, sorry. So let's see what are the principal parts of a comment in our terminal. So as we said, arguments are the input or the parameters that the comment needs to perform its function. So they can be files, directories, value, or whatever. Let's take the comment as an example. So we have comment, for example, we have ls to list something minus a. So the name here of our comment is ls, which is the name of program you are executing. The options which if you want to, for example, modify what the comment may do, usually start with 1 or 2 dashes. For example, dash p or double dash print or whatever. And this differentiate from an argument to another. Differentiate them from arguments. So arguments, what does the comment operate? For example, the input or the output. The input, which is most utilities require some form of input file. For example, when using cd to copy to access to another directory, you need to provide as input the desired path. So cd is to change directory. So when you are using cd, you need to specify the desired directory the desired path that you want to go to it. The output is used to specify the desired end result, which is not required for all utilities. For example, when we are moving files, we need an input file to move and an output file to specify where we are going to move this file. So we should note that many comments have no options and or no arguments, but the principal part is comment. The option is optional and the arguments are optional. Optional means it depends from a comment to another. For some comments, the option is or the argument is required. Like for example, we said changing directory, we are moving from a path to another, so we don't have a choice, but only given the path that we want to go to. Or when we are moving files, we need to specify which file we are moving and where we are moving this file. So here the arguments is important and you cannot execute some comments without specifying the arguments. So today we see 3 parts. In the first part, we'll see how to list the count of a directory, how to define a comment. We are going to define list of comment option, customize our terminal, and clear the terminal emulator screen. First of all, let's see the different directories of Linux. So with dash, or when we found dash, only dash, means this is the root of the virtual directory where normally no files are placed. We can find the dash bin, which is the binary directory where many GNU user level utilities are stored. We can have the boot directory where boot files are stored. We can have, for example, slash home, which is the home directory where Linux creates user directories, which we'll be using in a bit. We can, for example, have the slash media when it is a common place for mount points used for removable media, etc. We can have the slash tmp for temporary directory, where temporary work file can be created and destroyed, the slash user with user binary directory, etc. So how to list the contents of a directory? So now we know where we are in a file system. How do we see the contents of our current directory? We need to type the ls command to list the contents. So if we just put ls, it will print the desktop, the documents, the downloads, the music, the pictures, the public, etc., which are all these are all directories in our current directory. We can use ls to list contents of any directory, not just current working directory. We will see how we'll be working or the power of ls. So with the command ls, we have several options. For example, -f to distinguish between folders, files, and executables. Folders shown with forward slash at the end of their names, executables shown with asterisk or star at the end of their names. Now, if we put ls dash capital R, And here, be careful because the capital R is different than the lower r. So if you put capital F is totally different than the lower f. So the ls-r, R stands for recursive, means it will show files and folders contained in subdirectories in the current directory. So it will print the directories in the current directory and the subdirectories that they are in the directories of the current directory. Now, another option for ls minus or -a, which will show the hidden files and folders that usually contain configuration information. For example, the hidden file or directories that have file names that start with period, or often configuration files that you normally wouldn't want to modify or display. Actually, there's many options we can use with A. As I told you earlier, the capital and the lower alphabet is totally different. For example, if you put dash lower a, it will list all files, even those with names that begins with a period, which are normally not listed, means hidden. Now, if you type ls dash capital A, it will like the dash lower a option, except it does not list. So means the current directory, and so it will not list the current directory and parent directory. Now we have the -d if a directory is specified. So ls will list the contents of the directory, not the directory itself. If we want to use -f, means to classify, so this option will append an indicator character to the end of each listed name. If you want to put ls-h, so here it will display the sizes in human readable format rather than in bytes. -or -l will display the results in long format, -r, lower r to reverse, and we mentioned that capital R to recursive. So here, normally ls displays its result in ascending alphabetic order. If you want to have the descending alphabetic order, we just need to put ls dash lower r. Now we have dash capital S to sort result by file size and dash T to sort by modification time. T means time. As we just mentioned, if you want to, here for L, it will display the results in long format. So in addition to displaying the files and subdirectories, ls-l will show the file type, D to say that is a directory, dash to say that is a file, L to say that it is a linked file, C to say it is a character device, B to say it is block device. You will see when typing ls-l the file permissions, read, write, and execute permissions. We will see or we will learn about permissions soon. Also, you see the number of file hard links, the file owner username, the file primary group name, the file size in bytes, the last time the file was modified. Now, if you want to combine ls-l-a for description of hidden file. Let's see. So if we put ls-l, this is on the table on the left. This contains the permissions. So we mentioned that here dash will mean file. If we find D here instead of the first dash, means it is directory. If it is dash, means we are in a file. We are checking a file, permissions for a file. Now R to mean read, W to say write, and this should be sometimes X. So here it will specify the permissions of reading, writing, and executing this file. We see this so. We see some numbers, so here 5 number of hard links, then the root, the username of file's owner, then the group which owns the file, then here the size of the file in bytes, the date, the name, and the file. So another ls minus l example. We have here dash rw dash rw dash rw. Means we see that what does this mean? So the first dash, it means we are using a file or checking a file. This for a file permissions, this for the number of file hard link. This is me, the file owner, username, the file primary group name, etc. So let's let's try this ls. You need to type your name again. So let's see what we have in this current directory. So we have, you can see here 2 different colors. The blue one is for the directories and the white one is for files. Now, if you want to put ls minus l, you can see here we have total 84. We have 2 linked files. This is the owner name, this is the size of the file, this is the current time, etc. And we have this means instead of, so we used to see dash here to say that it's a file. Now this D means it is a directory. Now this is a file, this is blue. If you remember, we mentioned that the blue ones are directories. That's why here we see with directory the blue directory. Now with the white, for the dash, here we have a file, test1.txt or whatever. And these are the permissions of reading, writing, and executing these directories or files. Now, if you want to, for example, let's check. Reverse. Let's try reverse. ls minus or dash r. You see, so here, when you are, we start with D, 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 M, P, P, etc. Now we started with V, T, T, T. So the alphabetic order is reversed. So we have, let's say, for example, ls dash LA. So here it will also specify all the dot config, the dot cache, all the hidden files that they didn't show up when we just put ls or ls dash l. So we can, or you can try as many common or as many options as you want to discover the power of ls. Now, if you want to customize your terminal, near the top left, you should see this icon, the terminal preferences, which is here, terminal preferences, and you can modify whatever you want. As we said earlier, you can change the initial terminal size, the custom font, the cell spacing, cursor, the background color, dark or white. So you can do some modification. So you can also define the color coding in the listing. So here, to enable this feature, you can use ls dash dash color receive auto. ls dash dash photo receive color means, oops. So I just mistype. See, whenever you even do some typo, it will stop you. So color should be the automatic one, which is the blue for the directories and the white for the files. So we saw the ls, how to customize our terminal. Now, if we want to clear our screen, we just need to put Control L and everything is gone. If you have many, or if you are used many comments that you don't need later, you can just put Control L to screen your to clear your screen and start again doing some or testing some comments. Now we'll go to the next part, which is in which we will start creating, moving, renaming, and copying some files, creating some directories, use some common shortcut methods. How can we navigate between directories and display the path of the current working directories? Sorry, and we will finish this second part by describing the absolute versus the relative paths. So let's start by creating new file. So to create new file, we just need dash space the name of the file. So this will create an empty file with a specified name. If you want to move or rename a file, we need to type mv and we put the old file name .txt and the new file name. So this will move or renames a file. So here we have two cases when it will renames. If the file name .txt means the first one is within the same directory as the old file name, means the two files are on the same directory. This now the move command will renames the file. Now if the file name .txt, the new one, or the second one specify a different directory than the first one, the old file name, then the move command here will move the file from its current location to the specified destinations. So here we need to put the move command, the old file name, and the path to the destination where we want to put the new file name, or when we want to move the new file name. For the copy file, here we will have CP, means copy, the source file, and you put the destination when we want to copy this file. Now, if you want to copy files using the interactive mode with CP, we just need to add -I, means interactive, and here this command will copy the file to a specified destination with an interactive prompt. Interactive mode prompt means it will asking for confirmation before overwriting. Means if you are copying this file in another place that you have already another file with the same name as the file that you are copying it, so it will ask you to, are you sure you want to overwrite this existing file or not? If you said yes, of course, it will overwrite it. Otherwise, it will create another file. So let's go and create our new file. So here, touch let's say amal.txt. Now, if you wanna see, we see that we have another new file in our directory. Now, if you wanna move mv.txt, now we are not going to specify the destination to another directory to put the to another. We are just going to give another name of file. What does this mean? Means we are going to rename the amal.txt file to the new name alex.txt. Now, if we do ls, so amal.txt is no longer there, and we can find alex.txt. Now, if you wanna move alex.txt to, let's say, home documents, so if we go to our here home, we'll go to the documents. Alex is here. So it is copied or moved from the home to the documents. Now, even if you put ls here, which is in our home, now Alex is not there anymore. This means if we specify this, the path means we are moving the Alex or the current file to a new destination. If we don't specify this path, means we are renaming this file in the same directory. Now, if we wanna copy, and you will specify, so cp to say it is to copy, then we'll use alex.txt, and we need here to specify the destination. Let's say, oops, let's say downloads. Oh, yeah, because we need to go to, the problem is why he is showing this error, because in our home, we don't have really Alex. Alex is under document. So if we are looking in the current directory for Alex, Alex is not there. So we are trying to put test instead of Alex. Test1.txt. Going. Test1. Okay, so here we wanna copy the current or from the current directory, which is the home, the test1.txt, and put it in home downloads. So this should be, wait, download, and we wanna name it test1. And now if we open the home, the test1 is there. And if we open the downloads, we can also find the test1.txt. Now, we want to create new directory, like the downloads, the music, etc. We want to create new directory with some specified name. So to do this, we are in the home directory, so we are going to put mk directory make new directory, let's say Flint, for example. And if we check here our home, we can find Flint, a new directory, Flint. Now, if we want to move between these directories, we have three ways. CD tend to take you to your home directory, which is we are on it right now. The CD dash that takes you to the previous working directory, the last one that you were working on it, and the CD 2 points or 2 dots takes you to the parent directory. And here you need to be careful that CD double dot is not the same as CD dash. Let's try to navigate, for example, between let's CD Flint. You see here, so we were in the home, now we are home slash forward or forward slash Flint. Now, if we wanna go to the previous one, CD will go back to the home. Now, let's say we are going to create new, let's move to CD Flint again and create new directory named CSC. Okay, now we want to go for access to this CSC. Okay, now we want to go to the home directory. So, or we want to go to the previous working directory. What we need to do, so this is the working directory. So we need to put cd dash, one dash, which is home Amal Flint. Now we are in Flint. We want to go to the parent directory. We just put double dot. So this is how to move or to navigate between directories. Now, to display the path of the current working directory at any given time using the command line, you are in a single directory. You are in Flint, you are in the home, you are in CSC, but you are in a single directory. The command pwd means print working directory command will print the unique path of directories used to navigate to your position in the file system starting at root. You will find the home username location is called the home directory and is often indicated by the T symbol. And as your username is Amal, so you should see the username that you were using when creating your virtual machine. So you can have multiple user accounts, as we mentioned. On your virtual machine, you can find Amal at Amal VM or Alex at commercial at Amal dash virtual machine or Bob at the commercial at Amal dash virtual machine, etc. Means these users are using the same virtual machine. So let's try the PWD. Now we are in home dash. Let's move to city length. Now try the PWD and the current directory that we are in is now changed. Now to move to a new directory, as we said, cd destination, we specify the destination. So from here, we can put cd CSC and we will access to the directory, the CSC directory. As we said, so here we have two types of path. The first one, which is the absolute path, for example, cd, we put /home/amal/downloads/Flint. So Here, we must always start with a forward slash and specifying starting with the home. Now the relative is comparing to our current directory location. We are, let's say, in the downloads, we can just put cd Flint because it is based on our current directory location. As we said, tend refers to your home directory. For my case, it's /home/mal. You can use it for relative destinations, for example, tint/downloads/Flint, or you can type cd with no destination and it will go to home. If we just put here cd without anything, you can see that now in the home directory. You can use the double dot to represent the parent directory as we mentioned earlier. Now the absolute path name always begin with root, then it will list out the directories separated by forward dash until the end with the desired location. It can be lengthy and annoying to type everything out, but is more accurate and you can navigate to any folder from any location. For example, your current working directory is, let's say, home/ml/download/Flint, and you type cd. Here we are using the absolute path name, means cd space /home/ml/download/Flint/CSE or CSC. Your new current working directory will become now /home/ml/downloads/Flint/CSE. Another example, if your current work directory is /home/ml/download/Flint/CSE/CS. If you type cd home/ml/downloads/Flint/CSE, your new current working directory will become the home/ml/downloads/Flint/CSE. This is when we are working with the absolute path name. But here you need to know the path, the whole path. For example, if you put cd/home/ml/Flint, you cannot access to CSE because your path name is wrong, because you missed the directory downloads. For him, when you put cd home/ml/Flint, the folder ml doesn't contain the directory for Flint. So for him, he cannot find the path. That's why when you are using the path name, we need to know the whole path for the directory that we want to go to it. Now for the relative path names, it will start from your current working directory. For example, you are in the downloads Flint and you type cd CSE. Now your current working directory will become home/downloads Flint and CSE because we were actually in Flint, so we are accessing to some directory in the Flint directory. Another example, well, for example, we are in CS, which is in CSE directory, and when we type cd CSE, this will give you an error. Why? Because for him, if we go, as we said, we are in CS folder and we want to check what is inside the CS, we will not find CSE. CSE is a parent for CS directory and not a child for it. So from CS, we need to go back. We need to do CS double dot to go to the CSE, but we cannot from CS directory cannot access to cd CSE. That's when we are using the relative names. So here we need to be careful what directory is inside the other directory. So how do you use relative path to navigate to a parent directory? The parent directory containing the folder above your current working directory, which is basically moving up. So if we use the double dot, this means we are indicating the working directory's parent directory. For example, if your current directory is home amal downloads flint CSE/CS. Now our current directory is CS. If we put CS double dots, means we are going backward by one step or by one directory to the parent directory. If we put CD double dot slash double dot, means you will go back to the Flint directory, means it will refer to the parent of the parent. Now, if we are using single dot symbol, it is usually meant to refer to the working directory, the current one, means CD instead of, for example, putting Flint slash CSE, we can put just dot slash CSE. It is not always required depending on the command. Now, the 10th character refers to the home directory of the user currently logged in. For example, the CD 10th here will navigate to the home for my case. You can also type $CD with no arguments as we tried it here, and it will do the same thing. When using relative paths, don't forget about the pwd command because it will help you too much to verify your working directory. You need to know where you are to know how to go to other directories. So the absolute versus the relative names. The relative path, the path to a resource based on the current position in the file system. However, the absolute path is the path to a resource starting at root. Some important notes. The file names and commands are case sensitive. As we mentioned earlier with ls command, if we put ls dash capital R is totally different than ls dash lower r. So here file1.txt and file1.txt with the f, one is capital and one is lower, are different files. Another thing we need to be careful about is we should not use spaces in the file name. Linux format them differently than Windows, so we'll technically allow it, but it makes navigation confusing. So it is better, for example, to put, let's say, file amal.txt or file amal.txt, but try to avoid space. Now let's move to the next part, in which we'll be seeing the first thing we see how to use script, then how to copy files using the interactive mode, how to display the content of a file using cat, and with the redirection operators, how to concatenate files using cat, and how to display the content of large files by piping cat into the more command. So let's start with the first one, display the contents of a file. So to create script file, we can just put script, the name of the script, and it will makes a typed script of everything on your terminal. Let's go to the command line to execute. So this is one thing to create a script. Now, the other thing is if you want to add content to an empty file using cat and redirect the operator. So first of all, to print the content of a file or of a script, you can just put cat, the name of the script. Let's see how to do this. So script test1.txt. Now we are creating script. We are creating script, and they said, okay, the script is started and it's ready to TypeScript when whatever you are going to type in your terminal. Let's type, for example, date. So these two lines will be added to our test1.txt. Let's say pwd. So this is also a line that will be added to our test1.txt. Now, if we wanna exit, we can just put Control D and the script is done. Now, if you wanna print the content of this script, we can just put cat test1.txt. And this is our, let me make it bigger. So cat test1.txt. This script started on, so this is whatever we type it here after script. This is the content of our script, the PW, the exit, etc. So cat here to print, if we put cat space the name of our script, it will print the content of this script. Now we have some options for the comment script as well, which, for example, N to shows the numbers, the line numbers, the B to show the numbers, only the lines that have the text in them, and the T to print the highest tab characters. Now, if you wanna add content to an empty file using cat and redirect and using the redirection operators. So how can we do this? Cat, the redirection operator, which is the greater than, then the name of the new file. So here you will put the content in this new file. Then, if you want to add a content to an existing file without overwriting its existing data, we here need to put two of the redirection operators, which are these two. Now, if you wanna, or let us just try these two. So here we just create a script and print what we have inside of this script. Let's try cat -n test1.txt. You see here the number of the lines in our script. Let's say cat -p test1.txt. So here you can see 1, 2, and with some information. Then, so now if you wanna put or use the redirection operator, we can put cat redirection operator and we put the name of the new file. So here we are going to, or it will give us the hand to write some stuff in the test2. Let's say line 1, line 2, line 3, and then Control D to close this file. Now, if you wanna cut, so let's say cut test2.txt. This is what we have for now in our test2. Now, what if you wanna use the double redirection operation. Test2.txt, and let's say raise line 1, raise line 2, raise line 3. So this is just some lines or some text inside the test2, but we will see what will happen to test2 when we are using the double operator redirection operator. Okay, now we are going to close our file, so Ctrl D. Now if you want to print the content of our text2.txt, you see here we have the previous content of test2, which was line 1, line 2, line 3, and then he added the second part, which is erase 1, erase 2, erase 3, to the previous part of the test2. He didn't erase the content, the original content of test2. Now, what if we put cat with one redirection operator, test2.txt? Let's say test line 1, test array line 2, test arrays line 3, and then we close our file. Now let's see what will be the content of our test2.txt. Now, when we are using one redirection operator, the original content of the file will be erased. When we put double redirection operator, it will be so the new content will be added to the original content of the file or the script without removing the original content. So here a big difference between the operation, the redirection operator and the double redirection operator. So now let's see what we have in our test1.txt. So we have the date, the PWD, etc. And the content of our test2.txt is test line 1, test arrays, etc. Now, what if we put cat test 1.txt test2.txt? So here we are adding the content of the test1.txt to the text2.txt. Let's see what will be the content of test2.txt after this redirection. Okay, so we have the original content of the test2.txt and the content of the test1 of test1.txt. So here we are just adding the content of the test1 to the content of the test2 without messing up the test2. Now, what if you wanna make cat with test1.txt and here redirection, make a redirection to test2.txt. Here, what should happen to test2.txt is the first part is erased. Where is it? Here we go. So as you can see here, there is no this 3 lines, the test line 1, the test erase line 2, and the test erase line 3. Only the content of the test 1. So here we are copying the content of the test1.txt into the test2.txt and erasing the content, the original content of test2. Here, of course, the content of test1.txt will not be changed. We are just copying into CS2 the test2. The test2 file is the one that will be changed. Okay, more. So we tried the double redirection. So it will be add content and to an existing file without overwriting its existing data. If we are using only one file, so it will be we are putting the content of the file, or we are copying the content of the first file into the second file and erasing the original content of the second file. Now, if you want to put the content of two files, so here, as you can see, here, cat, we specify the first file, then we specify the next file, then the redirection operator, then another combined file. So this command will concatenate the content of file 1 and file 2 and saves it to a new file named combined.txt. So whatever here after this redirection operator, it will get the content of the files before this redirection operator. You are putting from the files that they are before the redirection operator into the file that is after the redirection operator. This is for the cat when you are using the cat and the redirection operator. Now, if you want to display the content of large files by piping cat into more, how we can do this is cat, the name of the large file, and then use a pipe to send the output of cat to the more comment, allowing you to view large files. So if you want to see some parts of the content, for example, if you want to see the tail, which let us view the last 10 lines by default of a file. This is useful to see the most recent entries, like a log file. We can use the dash n to see, for example, 2 or 3 lines, the last 2 or 3 lines. You can use the dash f if the file is currently in use, like an active log file. Same for the head. So like the tail, we have the head. So by default, it will show the first view, the first 10 lines of a file. If we want to specify how many lines we want to show from the beginning until end, we need to specify the value of this n. Let's try these two commands. So before that, let's do cat test2.txt. So this is the content of our test2. Now, if you want to put cat test2.txt and here pipe, and we'll be using more. So this will, as we mentioned here, we send the output of the cat to the more comment. And here we see the large file. Now, if you want to see, for example, the 5 last lines of this file, we need to put cat, we specify the name of the file, then like we did for more, we do for tail. By default, it will show the 10 last lines, which is almost the whole file. Now, if you want to specify to show only the last 2 lines, which they are the script done, etc., and that's it. Now, if you want to specify, say 4. So here, 1 line, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if you want to show the first 10 lines, which is done by default, s2.txt using the head without any other option. Now, if you want to just show the 3 first lines, so here we have the script started, etc., the date, and the current date. This is if we have a large file, big file, and we wanna just access, as you said, to the last 10 entries or comments that you posted, or the previous ones, or whatever. Now, if you wanna access to your previous comment, you can just put the arrow for up. If you want to go more, you can just click more. This is the previous one, previous one, the previous one, etc. This is that gives you the last comments that you entered, but one by one in the same order or in the reverse order in which you were entering it. Another So you will have here the man and info page. So most Linux distributions keep track of the previous 500 comments by default. To see the most recently entered comment, type the up arrow. To see the comments entered before that, keep pressing the up arrow like I just did. If you go too far, press down arrow. Tab is used to auto-complete. Now, at some point, you know, for example, that you want to print, let's say, but let's say you don't know the options of the comment tail or of the comment cat. What you should do, Linux offers you some or all default bash comments have an associated manual. We just put man and then we type the name of the comment. So here it will give you the description of the comment, all flags that are accepted, etc. If you type man to see all of the manuals available. Now another way to get help, which is info comment. And there is difference between, okay, in general they are both helping, but the info is more organized than man. It relies on text info document and it provides linking, menus, etc. Another one is, for example, you can put cat space -- help. You can also use the documentation provided with the distribution, or just you can Google it if you are stuck with some specific command. But the man, the info, and the help will be helping you to know what are the options and what does this command do. Okay, so if you want to know your history of commands, so this is what we did. In this lecture, we start with the ls-l, autocolor, the touch, we created the file, we listed the content of the file, we moved, or here we renamed the file Ahmed to Alex, then we moved this file to this destination, then we created plain directory, then we moved to this directory, then we used the pwd to print the current working directory, then we access to the CSC directory, then we start with scripts. We created test1.txt, then we printed the content of this txt, then using the -n, we printed the number of lines in this script, test1.txt, then we put the content in test2, then here we put the content of test1 into test2 without missing the content of test2. We're just adding to the original. We also added or copied the content of test1 and erasing the original content of test2, etc. So if you put history, for example, if you type a comment that you needed later and you couldn't remember it, you just can type history and it will give you the previous history, the previous comments that you were using it. Now, if we put, for example, man script, means we want the manual of the script. What it shows: script, user command script. The name is script and make TypeScript of the terminal session. So here you have options, then you have the file. The first part after the comment is the options, the second one is the file. And it will give you small description. So script make a TypeScript of everything on your terminal session, etc. Now, if you want a kit, we just put Q. Now, let's say, for example, we put info. So you see here, it's more organized than the more than the manual. So cat invocation to concatenate and write files, NL invocation, OD invocation, etc. -A that shows all, B number non-black, E the options here, N the number all output lines starting with line 1, etc. So here it gives you with some examples, which wasn't the case for man. So you can use also man for the manual if you have a or if you are looking for a general information, or you just can type the okay, it's so detailed and you need to go to scroll down until the end. So if it is showing here the percentage. Yes, so that's it. So if you press Q, you will leave this documentation. So info is more organized, is more detailed. It gives you some examples. Man is if you are looking for a general information or something not really specific. So this is for cat, and you can also use the help. So using the man interface, use spacebar to go to the next bar page. You can use enter to go to the next line. You can use arrow keys for up, down, left, or right, and press Q to quit. And the command to navigate, for example, man section topic. You can use man-k terminal, man1 intro. So this is an exercise just for you to understand how these commands are working. So we are all set for today. Please let me know if you have any question. Thank you.